Welcome to the Trailer Talk podcast. Your host, I'm Dora Grabkowska.
And I'm Vera Sandler.
And today we have an incredibly talented guest who, without a doubt, is one of the fastest and the most stylish female mountain bikers, making a statement with her custom kits and paving the way for the next generation of female riders. So welcome, Tahnee Seagrave.
Welcome! So we want to rewind it right back to your early days. Obviously, a lot of people think or know that you spent a lot of your childhood in Morzine, but there was like quite a significant period where you were born not in France and you didn't live in France. So tell us about where you grew up.
Yeah, I was born in South London, in Croydon. So yeah, for the first 8 years of my life was done there. And yeah, we weren't bikers. Like, that's not why. A lot of people think that's why we moved to Morzine, is because we were bikers, but that wasn't the case at all. Just my mum and dad wanted a better upbringing than they had. They were kind of scraping by, and they just wanted to give us the best opportunity they could. So yeah, I was heavily into gymnastics and nothing to do with riding bikes. And yeah, they kind of took the massive leap to take us to the French Alps and obviously have the most insane upbringing and childhood that we could have ever asked for.
That's awesome.
Sick.
That's a pretty big move as well, I bet, when you've got young kids. To just be like,
well, they were
a bold move.
Also, they were young parents. So, well, Mum had me when she was 24, I think. So, yeah, they would have been early 30s when they decided to do that move, which I'm nearly.
That's me. Yeah.
I'm like, what?
Respect. That's
yeah,
so
nice.
So huge move for them, but they've always had big goals, I guess, and it was just another challenge for them. And they'd been on holiday, them two together, and they absolutely loved it. So
nice.
they were just I think my older brother was getting into a bit of trouble when he was younger, and they just thought, fuck it, let's take them there. And
cool.
yeah, they bought a really rundown mill, which is it wasn't in Morzine, it was outside of Morzine, so 10 minutes. And it was back when, Morzine wasn't a hot spot for mountain biking at the time. And yeah, they converted the two upper levels of this mill, and as soon as they could, they spent day and night on it. Dad was working in the UK at the time, come back, work on the chalet. We were working on the chalet, we were helping where we could. And then, as soon as it was ready, so we kind of lived in the middle flat, which was never done until we left, basically. But yeah, we had guests come in and mountain bikers came, and that's how we kind of discovered it.
Is that how you got into biking then, from having guests come who rode?
Yeah, well, it was a summer sport there. They did have it open to mountain bikes, but it was mainly léger, and there was no biking club that was nearby. It wasn't really a thing. So, but people, there was a French national in Orbea or something, I think, at the time. That's where the tracks were. It was kind of a bit dotted around the place. It's just nowhere near what it is now.
Yeah.
But yeah, we had a few pros come and stay, and Chain Reaction Cycles, I'm not sure if anyone remembers, but they came to stay, and then they would talk to other people, and the Aftons came to stay, and that's kind of, we were really lucky with who we got to know, and how we got put into the sport.
Unreal.
Were your parents into mountain biking then, or?
No. My dad did some BMX when he was younger, but he was just a kid, cruising about with his mates. It wasn't anything serious.
Yeah.
But they're both really sporty, and like I said, I did gymnastics, Chaos did football, my older brother did football, then I did ice skating, figure skating, and then we just did BMXing. They just kind of let us be kids, I guess. We just tried anything we wanted to do. We did at school, and tried all the activities.
Love that.
Yeah.
That's so cool. That seems, because obviously now you guys have a really big, successful race team that is just killing it. But from the start, it seems it was just a family thing, and you guys have always grafted together and stayed together and done and gone to some crazy heights, which is so cool. It's so inspiring.
Yeah, my dad's pretty good at polishing a turd, I was always saying. And he's quite a flashy guy, so he will always make things look like they're just at the top of their game, and behind scenes he's just he works so hard, and there's not always money, but he pulls it off. We've never been a big budget team until this year.
Yeah.
We were always a family team. We were in a van with easy ups from the first part of my career, and then a camper van for me and Chaos that was on finance until the very end, like until they sold it and it was still being paid off. So, you know, just shit like that. I mean, it's hard to see now because we've just had an insane lorry build, and it's like one of the biggest lorries on the circuit now. So, but it's insane to look back, and you do have a few pinch me moments where it's just like, how on earth has this happened? But yeah, it's nice to have had that nice like journey.
Yeah, definitely.
A nice uphill climb and have like milestones along the way, because to me that's like a journey of success. It's quite 100%. A nice one, rather than just being like there. So
yeah.
And it's nice to have had that journey with my dad and seen everything they've had to go through to be able to enable us, me and my younger brother, to be able to do what we do.
Yeah, it's quite a lot of risk taking, I'd say, and for your parents to make a decision, let's move from London to this little village in France. And
well, they had no idea. They didn't know that we were going to become professional mountain bikers. I think they always really knew. Cool. Like my mum's always said to me, she's like, I've never worried about what you do, because you just like, she says you put 110% into anything you do, and we just knew you were going to excel at like any type of sport you wanted to do or outside of that. She was like, your brothers on the other hand. So yeah, thanks.
Stop it, Mom.
No, it's pretty surreal still to this day.
So
pretty cool.
Very inspiring.
And then growing up in France, obviously you learned French as well, which is quite a sick skill to be bilingual as well.
Yeah.
And sort of like pick up another language just so naturally. Does that affect like the way you think, or like, you know, a lot of people always ask me, for example, because I think we're all bilingual. Yeah. So it's like a lot of people always ask me like, which language do you think in? Well, do you ever think about that? Or?
Yeah, I guess like when I grew up, like when I went to France, when I went to school in France, and all my friends were French, and me and Chaos at home would speak French.
Would you? No way.
Oh,
yeah,
no way. I thought
because he was like, he didn't speak. Chaos had to go to speech therapy when he was younger, and I think because he moved when he was like 4 or 3, so, and then all of a sudden he's introduced to this new language, and I think it was all a bit, it was just a lot to comprehend, I guess, at that age. And he spoke mostly French, so I guess we spoke English at the house with Mum and Dad, but my older brother moved back he stayed in the UK, so yeah, we just, we spoke French, like at school, back home from school, so a lot of the time I would think in French, but my like first language is English, and because I haven't been back in France, I still have French friends, but I don't speak it very often anymore, so every now and then I like challenge myself when I'm driving. I like speak to myself in French.
Nice. I need to do that. Take a leaf. That's a good idea.
I feel like I'm actually insane, but I'm just like, ooh.
I love it.
But yeah.
But practice.
So it's good to have. So like I forget about it sometimes, and I realise, and I'm like, wow, that's actually such an insane thing to have, especially as like an English speaking person, because a lot of Europeans just speak English, and in England you don't have very many bilingual people.
No.
So yeah, huge opportunity.
That
cool. Was, yeah.
Yeah, you so easily can just, as I think any English speaking country, you kind of think you can just go anywhere and get by.
Well, you kind of can though.
Yeah, you can.
Because everyone else speaks English.
Yeah.
So I guess as like a country, we're just like.
But then some countries just hate you.
Yeah.
Just try. At least try.
I feel really bad when I go to other countries and I can't speak their language, and I'm like, I almost want to be like, I can't speak another language, just not your language.
Yeah, true.
I'm like, no way, that sounds terrible.
Just in whatever country you go to, just learn how to say, I am bilingual. No, that's super cool. Do you notice yourself, like, because obviously you live here now and you probably speak French, like, not as often as you used to. Do you notice, like, do you have to think more about when you speak, or are you still pretty dialed, like you don't really have to?
No, I have to, it's like tiring. It's a tiring language for me now. Like, I think after a week of being with someone French and speaking every day, I'm all right. But the reintroduction and like having a full conversation, I don't have to think in my conversation.
That's cool.
But I notice after that I'm like tired.
Yeah.
Because I guess my brain just hasn't, like, it has to dig a bit deeper to find it. There are a few words that I forget, but because I'm usually speaking to someone like on the World Cup circuit that will also speak English, I'll just say the word in English because I can't. My brain just blocks and then.
I'm like a level up from that where I like a lot of the time now I have to think about what I'm saying, like what to say before I say it. And it sucks. I'm like, get me back to the back in the day.
Yeah, when I'm like around a load of French people and we speak, I feel like I'm not myself because like you can't like get your personality across. Yeah. And I almost want to say to them, I'll be like, I am funny by the way, just in my own language.
I'm funny.
I just can't think about something quick enough. And I'm just sat there like quiet the entire time because you're like,
I wasn't funny.
Yeah, guys, please.
I promise you're great.
You just don't feel like yourself.
That's interesting actually. Like, that's for sure a thing.
Or like, the humour isn't the same.
Yeah.
So you'll say something, it's just like sighing, like, well, that didn't come across the same as it would have done with a bunch of Brits, but all right.
That's really interesting though, because it's like almost changes your identity a little bit.
It does.
Depending on like what language you use.
Yeah.
I definitely feel that a lot, like speaking Polish or English, like it feels different.
You just can't use the same, you don't have the same like vocabulary, so you don't express yourself in the same way you would as when in your like first language, I guess.
Yeah, true. Let's talk about your custom kits, because every year, it's kind of like the most anticipated fashion drop, like when you release your custom kit when you go racing. So I just wanted to find out what inspires you to create these custom designs with the brands that you work with, and the kind of like impact that it has on the mountain bike community.
I think like looking back, when I first started doing my kits with Fox, I was like, they were a lot mellower than they are now, but I definitely felt like there wasn't any representation of like what I personally liked, or like I like dark kits and I like all these like earthy colours and stuff, but I just wanted something bright and that caught people's eye, or was like, I loved the colour pink, like it was just something I genuinely did like, and I felt like it had been used in such a way as a stereotype that women weren't drawn to it anymore, because it was like, we were so pushed into a way that it was like, oh, this colour's so girly, this, that and the other, like, and we weren't seen as being as serious, or like pink is a girl's colour, or this, that and the other, and I kind of wanted to take that as my own narrative and be like, well, I just like the colour pink and I like to go fast and I like to do big jumps, and why is that a problem? So that was where like putting it into my kits, it was way easier to express myself through my kits than it ever was like verbally or like outside of that. And I knew I had a strong presence on my bike and when I was racing. So to me, that was my way of kind of trying to change the way people saw not just colours but women in sport, I guess. It was always way bigger than just having a pink kit. So yeah, as Fox, as me and Fox started to work together and they started to trust me more and our kits did really well, it just kind of snowball effect and it just got bigger and bigger and people started to love it, and Fox started to love it, and then I finally got my first collab with them and dropped that in, I think it was 2020 was my first actual collab. With like royalties and stuff, so that was pretty insane for me. Like I always saw Fox as this huge brand that I wanted to ride for when I was younger, so yeah, when you see like your name on the website, and it's pretty insane, but yeah, that's kind of where it came from. And I think it would be a little bit weird now if I didn't have a pink kit. It's kind of become like my identity, I guess. Yeah,
for sure.
Not sick of it yet. So.
Do you feel like a certain way when you throw on a really pink or sparkly kit? Like, does it like empower you in some sort of way? Yeah, for sure. I love the outrageous kits. Yeah. Like, I love proving that I can have this outrageously pink glittery kit to prove that like that's not going to take anything away from my performance. Sure. Like, I can still be really serious about my racing and like wear what I want to wear. Like, I think that was the whole point of it, is like I was kind of sick
and tired of being like, what are you wearing that for? Why have you put mascara on today? Like, it was just getting really irritating. And I'm not like, I'm like not considered as your like typical like girly girl either. But if I had long nails and I had like a blow dry and I had like a face full of makeup, why would that take away from my skill on a mountain bike? And I think there was just that like instant, I don't know, it's weird to me, but that's what I tried to break down.
For sure.
And
That's
I think
cool.
the more outrageous they are for me, the more fun I have, because it's just, I don't know, I kind of like pissing a few people off as well.
Yeah, just kind of dropping bombs.
Well,
of like,
it's just like, I think it's just ridiculous to me. So being able to take that and, I don't know, and also inspire young girls. If, you can play with Barbies if you want, and if you want to go and roll around and, you know, in the dirt and play with the boys, then you can. Like, there's no...
Yeah, I think it's sick. I think it inspires everyone to like, or women to embrace like whatever their femininity is in like such a male-dominated sport.
Yeah.
There are so many, like, there's so many lovely guys, but there's so much like just male energy around.
Yeah,
So
it's
sick
still
to
like
just
a big topic, isn't it? And a big problem in a lot of areas, not just in sport. So
For sure.
Yeah.
And it's not like I was trying to be like pink is a girl's colour. It's just sometimes you have to go to the opposite end of this
100%.
this spectrum that we have to try and make a point, and
For
that's
sure.
what it was.
For sure.
Yeah. And now it's just a load of fun.
Sick. Yeah, so cool.
It's sick to see how empowering it is for the women as well to like to see that they can bring their feminine energy into the sport as well.
Yeah.
And like that it's cool to do that. If they want to have makeup on, they can.
Yeah, you
If they
don't have
wanna
to
wear
leave it at
pink,
the
they
door,
can.
you know?
Yeah.
Like,
You don't
I
have to
think,
be,
that was a big part of it. It's like you don't have to leave that side of you to perform, or you aren't any less credible as a rider
For sure.
because you're this person when you're not on your bike.
Yeah. Exactly. How did the first custom kit come about? Because you're very like, just proactive at doing like more, I guess like design based stuff with companies, right?
Yeah.
Other than just like racing and getting sick results, you're like, you do a lot of cool arty stuff as well.
Yeah, I guess I was always like, my dad's really creative. Like, he's just built a lorry.
Yeah.
Like, he's like
In a really short space of time.
Yeah, in like 4 months.
Yeah.
But so I guess I've kind of inherited that creative side from him. He's really good at stuff like that. He was a graphic designer, and I've always loved that. I did art at school. I'm like not very good anymore. I don't really like pick up pens or anything, but I do feel like I have a good eye for something that works. And yeah, I guess Fox thought the same thing. And I think when there's a story behind something, it always helps.
For sure.
And I think ever since I saw like Sam Hill's collab with 510 back in the day, I was like, I want to collab with brands. That's sick. And I just never really dropped it, I guess. Maybe I was just kept knocking on Fox's door.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Because I feel like for a long time there wasn't like custom kits either. And then it became popular and all, like, as racers we would just get given whatever they gave us. And then people started getting... Well, the team started getting custom kits for the team, and then your one-off rider would get custom kits, and it's really fun. But I've just always wanted to do that side of things. It's always been fun to me.
And you guys used to make clothing as well. You had like a little thing going on.
We had like a lockdown.
Yeah.
That was sick.
That was sick. I enjoyed that time, but my neck hurt so much. I got such a bad neck from the sewing. I was obsessed.
What, because you were like leaning down?
Yeah, like,
Just like
honestly, we were like, I got so obsessed with it. It was an unhealthy obsession, just cutting stuff up.
Tara, you guys like started business. Like,
So Tahnee and I started, like, in lockdown, we both got sewing machines and we both just became, like, obsessed
It was
with sewing. We were
unhealthy.
making these, like, festival outfits. Like reworking
and...
stuff into festival outfits.
Yeah.
There's no festivals on at the time, but everyone was buying the outfits still.
Yeah, everyone loved it. We couldn't believe it.
But yeah, we went hard.
We would like, I think it was fun because, well, we had nothing to do during COVID.
Yeah.
And then you could buy stuff. So we were buying stuff, which is, for us, shopping was fun. And then we got to cut it up, make something cool out of it, and then sell it on again. So it's just like this constant little flow of I mean, I think I lost more money than I made because I've still got tons of fabric that I need to do stuff.
Me too.
They're really sick gowns though.
Yeah, it was fun.
Really cool. Like
That was super fun. Yeah, we went insanely hard. I would like get up every morning and just straight on my sewing machine. And then I like wouldn't be able to leave until I've like made a full
I'd be
fit.
like, and it would be like midnight. Just like, just constant. I haven't touched the sewing machine since, I don't think. Just one day, I think we were able to go back outside again. We're like, whoa!
Go back to racing now.
That was funny.
It's cool. You still have that skill for life.
Yeah.
Or like maybe a quick tutorial to drop back in. But
I'm like, how do I do this?
yeah. No, that was really cool.
Yeah.
Fun times.
That is super fun.
But speaking of literally nothing that I've just spoken of, I wanted to talk a bit about. Like your obviously like we've been good mates for years, so I know like even before the women at Hardline thing was a thing, it had been your vision for years, and you've been like very instrumental in making the women's category happen. So I wanted to know why it was so important to you to have a women's category, and obviously I know like you wanted to make it happen one year, and then that was when you were injured, so it didn't happen. But then it all went on like the year after that, right?
Yeah. Well, I think it was like I remember talking to you saying that we had the opportunity to go and ride the track outside of Hardline, and that was probably, I can't even remember what year that was. That was probably like 2019.
Yeah, maybe.
Like pre-COVID, because I think Red Bull approached me with the idea of being like, we want a girl to ride Hardline.
Yeah.
And I think at the time, like I've always liked big jumps, but freeride still wasn't really a thing.
No.
Like it wasn't massive in like the women's side.
There was no big,
Like
there
Dart
was
Fest
no
wasn't
big air
going. Yeah,
events
there
for
was
us or
nothing
anything.
going on. So the idea of that was like huge. Like I hadn't seen anyone do anything like it. So the idea was great, but I felt like there was big steps to happen before I could actually get there. And I said yes. But 2019 was the start of my like injuries that I had. I had like 5 years straight of injuries. And then luckily we saw Jess Blewett, who was really keen on doing Hardline. And yeah, she rode in, I can't remember now, it's probably like 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago.
Maybe? Yeah.
Yeah, so she was the first female to enter a Hardline and be on track. And she ticked off quite a few jumps and she got injured that year. But just having a girl there visibly for other girls to see was huge, and what kind of the point of having a girl there was. So yeah, I kind of, from that, we learnt a lot, and I was like, we need more girls. Like it can't just be like an opportunity given to a singular, because I feel like we would work better in a group.
Yeah,
sure.
supporting each other
Yeah.
and working for future.
And yeah, I said to Red Bull, I think it's quite big. I don't think we can expect a top to bottom, but I think if we, do a couple of days with one of the male riders and they can like tow us over some jumps and there's no pressure, we don't tell anybody that we're turning up, it's just an internal thing, and like just to relieve all that pressure, because like I said, we hadn't really seen anything big go down. So yeah, and then it actually just skyrocketed. Like we were capable of so much more than what we thought, and it went amazingly. But yeah, I think just giving the women the platform, we were always gonna excel. It's just we're not often given the platform, so I kind of made it my duty to be able to use my resources and the leverage that I had with certain brands to create that space.
Yeah. Sick.
And it is what it is today, which is insane. Seeing Gracie Hemstreet do a top to bottom in Tasmania. She's doing her first Welsh Hardline this year. She didn't.
Cool. She's doing it.
She didn't do it last year because of the World Cup season is so demanding.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited. She's just so like, I think because she's a lot younger, obviously, and she's been able to see, and she's like grown up at Coast Gravity Park, and like she's seen. It's just such a big thing for women to see other women. I think
100%.
to know that it's possible.
Yeah.
I think with all the freeride stuff, and she's just a little gem. Like she was when she came to Tasmania, for the first time, I was a bit like, oh, she's like, I haven't really seen, because I only knew Gracie as the racer that I know, and I was like, I've never really seen her do big jumps, I'm not sure what to expect. I was a bit on the fence, like, I feel responsible for anyone that comes. And from the moment she was there, I was mind blown. I was so inspired by her. She was just super chill. She did everything in her own time. She wasn't like trying to do something first or like getting too excited, because she was just so poised. I learned so much of her that week, and I was like, this is great. And she was very calming for the group.
Amazing.
And yeah, it was really cool to see, and she deserved that. Like obviously the win and this year's win. Really excited to see what she can do.
It's pretty hard to put like a full run, like top to bottom. It must be like so nerve-wracking. So I guess you've got to be like really composed and.
Yeah, but it's
like really so calmly. Easy to get.
Like.
Yeah. Because the jumps are like, they're not. Some of them aren't nice, you know. They're like big and not super nice. So or like. It's meant to be hardline, so your entry or exit just, so you're already like, oh, and then all of a sudden you've got like a bloody 50-foot drop or whatever, and it's like,
You'll be like,
well, I've got to figure this bit out first, and then maybe I'll consider that. But I think Tasmania was a good entry point for Gracie before Wales, because Wales is just so different. Yeah, it's just different terrain, but I'm sure she'll be fine. But we've still yet to see girls hit the 90 and 100. And the last jump, I think the last jump we fine, but and everything else has been ticked off. So
and you've done the big gap as well, the road gap.
Yeah, the road gap was.
That must have been nerve-wracking.
Well, because that was initially, like when you said, "Oh, what was the thing that kicked all this off?" The road gap was initially the only feature I wanted to do, because it was like so iconic. The top to bottom wasn't in mind. And we just, for Red Bull, obviously, we just wanted, it was like, oh my God, if a girl does the road gap, and like, it would be incredible. So we were just going to work towards that. But then obviously things escalated, and like I said, the talent skyrocketed and everything kind of went really well. But in the first year we didn't do it because there's so much wind. And then I remember Louise Ferguson and Cami Nagura are on the end of the road gap, and they were like, I think we got this. I was just like, oh God. And I hadn't really thought about it again, because like I said, everyone was doing so well, and the road gap kind of just got pushed out to the back of my mind, because we were ticking stuff off. Too much wind anyway, but from that moment I thought about that road gap every day, and I was like, we're gonna do it. And I felt like I had to do it, because I couldn't be the one to hype everyone up and then not do it. So they really pushed me out of my comfort zone, and it's definitely like a tick that I've always wanted to do. And after I did it, I was like, I can't believe because I've been to Hardline and watched it years before I was able to ride, and I looked at that road gap and thought, not in a million years you could pay me to ride off that. If you've seen it in real life, and you stand on the edge and it's so exposed, you're above the trees, and like the landing is like skinny into a turn, and it's just like, and when we were up there, the boys, when we were on like we'd done all the top stuff together, and the boys are laughing, joking, all having a great time, towing us in. We get to the road gap, and the mood just changes. Like, it just went like,
no way.
Yeah, it was just silent.
Yeah.
And the girls wanted to do it, because that's why we were there. And you couldn't really talk to anyone, because everyone was just like, you can hear everyone breathing. It's just insane.
That's gnarly, because you know they've done it before, and if they're acting that nervous, you're like, well, it must be scary.
Teo was like, well, boys, this never gets easier, does it? And like everyone's like, huh? And you're like, oh, because now all of a sudden you're like, what? And then like Chaos wasn't riding that year, I think, but everyone that I would usually like be like, hey, can I get a follow? Like, there was no way you were following it. Like, I think no one wanted to be followed. It's just like, get it done, first run out the way, and they just, one by one, like, you just hear it.
Who did you follow in then?
No one.
No one, just you sent it?
Yeah, there was no one. The boys, they were gone. They were good luck, see you, bye.
Like, okay.
But they were so scared, so.
Yeah.
And then, one by one, they just kept going, and we were left there to our own devices. I know some of the girls don't want to follow anyway.
Yeah.
I probably would have liked to follow someone.
Like, just learn all the speed.
Yeah. Chaos said to me before I went up, he was like, just don't brake. And then when the video of me came out, I was like, you braked, didn't you? And I did, because I so nearly I remember being in the air and being like, oh fuck, because I was like nosing in. If you watch the video, I like just make the landing.
Oh,
and I remember touching my brakes on the road gap, and then Chaos's voice came into my head, and I was like, and then, but you can't, there's no time to stop.
Too late.
Yeah, I went off and I was like, oh no, and all I could think was, he's gonna fucking kill me. Like, he told me not to touch my brakes. But yeah, he's like, the one thing I told you not to do. Like, but it's so scary. You come on and you're like, I'm going too fast. But
It's like the scariest thing ever. I can't even
I've
think
never
of anything
been,
scary.
yeah, I've never been that scared in my life. Like, and to have, like, I had to pat myself on the back after that one, because like overcoming that fear, obviously everyone knows how to, like, in this trailer, how to overcome fear, whether it's big or small.
Yeah.
But I think I'm so used to it now with like racing, and that was just so different. So yeah, I don't really get out of my comfort zone anymore.
So yeah, so did you find it like quite significantly different to like being scared about, I don't know, a feature on a racetrack or
For sure.
dropping into a race run?
I'm
Mad.
so used to dropping in for race runs.
Yeah.
I still get nervous, but I know the feeling.
It's like familiar.
I know what to
nerves,
expect.
Yeah.
I'm doing my job.
Yeah.
Hardline didn't really feel like my job. It felt like I said, I'm more than just being a rider there. Like, I have a bigger.
Yeah, for sure.
I feel like my role there is a lot bigger, and I'm trying to do all these things to like expand it in women's riding and like the exposure. And I know I've got a big name in the sport, so I try and bring like the visibility to it.
Yeah.
Personally,
Yeah.
didn't really want to do the road gap, but it was a personal achievement.
Yeah.
And once I was there, I was like, you know what, like I can do this. But yeah, it was insane. Like, I was so happy, and it's been like, the last time I felt like that was probably when I was like 12 and sent something huge on like Plenty or
Yeah.
and I was like, oh, this is why I do it.
Yeah.
So it's a reminder. But it's hard when you're racing World Cups. That's what I'm paid to do. That's what my team paid me to do. And you're kind of like, oh, like this isn't really my thing. But once I did it, I was like, oh, this is my thing. Yeah.
Sick. Were you not worried about like the consequences? Obviously, like if you got injured, that would be a serious like.
That's what makes me scared, I guess. Like,
consequences.
it is the consequences of what could happen, and the scale is so much bigger than what I'm used to. So obviously I'm really scared of what might happen, as is everyone that stood on top, I think.
Definitely.
But yeah, you just have to trust yourself, and like, you know, I could have very easily just been like, nah. But,
Definitely.
But I like to push myself, and I do thrive in those times, and I wouldn't do it if I didn't think it was possible.
Yeah.
It's kind of tech, I feel like, with you guys racing World Cups, and then there's also now hardline as an option. Like, do you find it tech, like, weighing up the sort of consequence, like the risk versus
well, the reward,
yeah.
Well, yeah, because
like you say, you are doing a job at World Cups.
Well, that's why there was no question in if we had a podium and prize money for the women this year, because we didn't last year. But that's because we were still on the vibe of, we're ticking things off. Yeah. Gracie and Lou managed to do a full run in Tasmania, and then there was like no podium and no prize money. And to me, I was like, it kind of just...
That's shocking.
Yeah, it was shocking, but it progressed a lot quicker than anyone thought.
Yeah.
So obviously that off season, I was like, we can't have that. Like, we can't have that. You can't. And there was a lot of discussion around like, but what if there's only one woman? I'm like, what if that's the one and only woman that's managed to get down? I was like, you can't. I'm not having it again. Where if like Gracie was to come down, even if she's the only girl, and have nothing there to reward her after literally doing something that no one's ever done before, inspiring millions. Yeah. I was like, we can't have it. Obviously, it happened. It was like no one was against it. Obviously, why would you be? Yeah. So and it's now full podium prize money for we still have, like I said, still haven't done a top to bottom in Wales, but it's there. Yeah. So I think it's now nice to know the girls, like if they are pushing a bit, there is a slight reward at the end of it. Yeah. But no one. It's annoying because no one ever does it. No rider on that hill does it because of the prize money. They do it because they want to push themselves, and they love riding bikes. And like I said, it's my thing. Like I love pushing myself, so that's why I'm there. But it's just nice from certain brands to recognise what you're doing and obviously have equal to the men. So yeah,
that's incredible. And in terms of like consequences and crashes, you've obviously had quite serious injuries before, and you had quite a few concussions as well. And we're stoked to see that you've overcome so many hardships and like worked your way through these injuries. But we all know like concussions can be really hard to get over, and like they affect our mental health a lot. So we're just wondering, what was the like one thing that stands out that you did to help you get through the dark times, like when you had sort of like, you know, quite severe concussions and injuries like that?
Yeah, I think like looking back, there's not like one particular thing that helped. I was really lucky to be in like my family home and have like be able to see someone daily. Like I'd see my parents daily. So because I was in a really, really bad space, and I don't know what I would have done if they weren't there. So that to me, like being able to speak, I couldn't really speak to them at the time, but just knowing that they could see me in this like desperate state, I think was enough to just kind of, for me to be able to relax a little bit, I guess. Like I was really fortunate to have that, and it, to this day now, it still makes me think, I'm like, oh my God, like so many people must go through that and not have that support and not have that, and it breaks my heart because like I just don't think I would have got through mine without that. And I was able to not go back to my job straight away. I was able to take my time. To me, time was the biggest healer. And I had to kind of go back to zero and like relearn how I was doing my life and how I was thinking about things, or how I was like my routines and stuff. Everything changed. It was you develop a lot of empathy after going through something like that. Because for me, like depression and anxiety were just symptoms off the back of my concussion. They're not things that I've experienced before. And they're not things that I experience now I'm well again. Probably anxiety sometimes, but I feel like, and then I get drawn back to those times, which is hard sometimes to deal with. But I'm like, that was just a symptom for me, but that's a reality for a lot of people. So, yeah,
it's really interesting to see how important it is to have a support around you, like support network of people. And again, your family's like really tight knit, and you've always done everything together. So it's quite cool to see that they help you through the rough times. As well as like help you with the.
Well, I went to some races and people were like, what? Because some people who had obviously had concussions as well, they were like, what are you doing here? Like, because obviously the noise and all the people. I kind of hid in the pits anyway. I was like, but this is all I've ever known since I was like 15. I've been racing World Cups. Before that, I was travelling with my dad. I was like, if I didn't do this, it would feel not normal. I was like, this is my home. Like, this is what. So I think it took me a little bit longer to recover because I was constantly putting myself out there with things that don't help. Like I said, noises, people, conversations. But I really just took my time and stayed with the team, with my family, like Phoebe, my teammate, who's like one of my best mates. Like, it's just made my recovery so much smoother, and I am someone who's able to talk about my feelings, so like that helped a lot. But I've never had like a hard time doing that, and I know a lot of people do have a hard time, but I know it helped a lot. It helped me a lot being able to tell them how I felt on that day. Every day was different. But you can't like, people are like, oh, you should exercise to make yourself feel better. I was like, I can't. Like, if I exercise, all my symptoms come back. So
I remember that phase.
Yeah, it was like, I think I did like, in the end, I think I must have done 8 months of like 0 exercise, like nothing. But in the beginning it was hard, and I kept trying to ride, get worse again, and I like got. But trying to ride, I mean, I'd go on like the road, I'd pedal for like 10 minutes, come back, I'd be in bed for like 2 days straight, sleeping the entire time. Oh, Tiz.
So Tiz, wants to come in.
Wait there,
But yeah, time for me.
Amazing.
You had a super similar.
Yeah, I had a concussion a couple of years ago, but yeah, it's definitely a mad one. But I think it's, unfortunately, it's pretty likely that you're going to hit your head if you're riding bikes. So
Yeah.
it's cool to hear, it's cool to hear what helped. And like you said, everyone's different, but
Yeah.
I think it's...
Well, I also thought, I remember thinking like, I was insanely scared I was going to be stuck that way forever. Like really, really scared. But for some reason, I don't know, there was something in my brain that was just like, you have to just keep going, because there would be the tiniest change in the day. Like, and when I say tiny, it was like, my head was basically as if somebody was just grabbing my head and putting it in a jacuzzi, and I was there all day. And then like 2 days later, I'll have like little like moments of like not that. I was like, well, I can still feel like that. And that's what I hung on to. And then like, I think after 2 weeks, I was able to get out of bed. That's how long I was in bed for. I couldn't like light people. Like, I remember my mum had to like feed me a banana because I just couldn't do anything.
No way.
But after like 2 weeks, I got up and made myself a cup of tea, and I was so happy, but I was so exhausted that was enough for me to have to just go back to bed and sleep again. Yeah, sleep, luckily for me, everyone's symptoms are different. Luckily for me, I can't remember what yours was like, but your sleep wasn't good, was it?
Nah.
Yeah, where mine was really good.
Yeah,
and sleep is like, they say, number one healer for concussions. But a lot of people's symptoms, like Vero's, is like a symptom of concussion is you have trouble sleeping.
It's just a double stitch up in it.
Yeah. It's different for everyone, but it's nice to know like I don't experience symptoms from that specific one anymore. So
Nice.
yeah, took my time to come back.
Yeah, I guess it's just time, isn't it? I've had some big ones as well in the past.
Yeah.
I remember being like really sensitive to light. I
Yeah,
had to wear sunglasses everywhere. Like,
yeah. I
Even if
think
it
a lot of
wasn't
people
bright.
don't realise the like knock-on effect from concussions, and you can't always tell because most symptoms just go away after a week. But you're actually in that stage for like, I think it's 2 to 3 weeks, and that's how long you should take off the bike before getting back to sport and taking your time. But people come back a bit earlier because they feel fine. And if you have another head knock in that space of time, your recovery extends again and again and again. So you just keep extending that recovery time. There's a good video about it actually on YouTube.
Nice.
I have to try and share. It's really, really good. It explains to you what happens when you don't like
cool.
recover properly.
Yeah, that's cool.
we can put a link in.
Yeah, because it's
really
really
good.
hard to find. I don't know. It's hard to find. Obviously, like we said, everyone's different. But yeah, it's pretty tech to find. Like,
Yeah, I didn't know
Just
anything
advice.
about it.
Yeah.
I remember
there's
when
not
Chaos
much
used to
out
hit
there.
his head. This is so bad, but Chaos used to hit his head and we'd be like, "You'll be alright."
yeah.
Like looking back now, I'm like,
Yeah,
"Oh
I
my
know.
god, that's
I know.
awful."
Yeah.
But you just
Same
have
with
no
Leo,
knowledge.
but my brother, he has a huge head hits. Yeah.
But luckily now, I think there is more. It's been brought to light a lot more with social media and like.
Yeah.
I tried to share as much as I could, even though I wasn't online, because of like my eyes and stuff. But I tried to share as much as possible when I found something out that was helpful to me. But like you said, it's hard. Everyone's different. Everyone's symptoms are different.
For sure. But I think you did a great job of like, trying to give as much sort of info as you learn throughout it. That's really cool.
I'm pretty stoked to see that you made a comeback from it and worked your way through. It's
Thriving.
Like, it's pretty sick. And now you have a new sponsor.
Yeah.
And you've been working on a development of a new bike. Could you tell us a bit more about what you've been working on and what are the future plans?
Yeah, we signed with Orbea end of last year. We weren't expecting to switch bike brands, so that kind of came to a shock to all of us. But luckily worked out for us, and then the bikes took a bit longer because they were prototypes, so we had a bit of a stressful time being like, oh my god, are we actually going to get down on bikes before the season?
Yeah.
Got them in January, and yeah, we've been testing them since. So it's been a lot of work, but we're really excited. So we're like finally a full factory team,
Yeah.
like a big investment. It's already gone onto the lorry, so probably not anymore. But
No money left.
yeah.
Spent all the money on the lorry.
Oh, yeah.
The lorry's
So-
insane.
So we did have a good budget, and now we're back to being a V team.
Get it easy off out.
Yeah. But no, it's we're really excited because it's just because despite like having won World Cups and at some points in my career being the most valuable rider, I've never been on a factory team. Because I love my family team so much. Like I wouldn't leave. It works for me. Spent years creating this environment. So to finally have that pay off.
Yeah.
I do feel like I'm a bit old now for it to all pay off, but luckily there's people like Phoebe coming through and Dara, who's our new junior, and even giving opportunities to like Martin Mays, who's coming back to downhill.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
That's exciting, actually. He was always a weapon, wasn't he? Like, super sick.
Yeah, he's already won a World Cup, but he said that's so long ago now. He's like, I'm starting from scratch, basically.
Does he have like kids and stuff?
Yeah, he's got 2 kids.
No way.
Yeah.
Sick.
That's cool.
Yeah, I feel good because I'm like, but Martin's actually younger than me, but I'm like, Ollie's the same age as me. And like, my mechanic's the same age as me. I'm like, it's evened out now. Because before having like a B team, you don't have any money to like be able to pay for elite riders. So we always had, it was just me and Chaos for a bit. And then we would always invest into younger riders because they're there for the experience, you know. So and we would just hope and pray that they would be really fast. So my entire career, that's all we've done.
Yeah.
So that's such a win-win. Like, it's so sick for them though.
Yeah, but then as soon as they get good, it's like our big team would just be like, and we understand we can't expect them to stay when we've got no money, and big teams will just offer these kids like good salaries, and that's kind of what we were happy to do because it's like, oh well, we've obviously managed to help this person.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel a lot more like the age has evened out now, and I'm not the oldest on the team.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's good. Because the youngsters just have way too much energy and they're like way too excited all the time. I'm like, this is like it feels like my 500th World Cup.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a good mix.
That's so cool. And you can give them your experience and stuff, you know, it's like...
Yeah, I like to think that I help Phoebe where I can. It's funny because we're so competitive, obviously, but I would never let that get in the way of like our friendship, and I would love to think that I've been a good mentor to her. It means a lot to me, especially as I didn't really have one when I was growing up.
For sure.
So, that's always meant a lot to me. So yeah, I give her a bit of a tough time, but I feel like she needs tough love. So
Yeah, it's sick.
yeah, it will pay off in the long
Love
run.
it.
Yeah, when she's standing on top of the podium. When I'm retired,
Yeah.
I'll be like, see,
Just like Phoebes.
yeah. I'll be like, see.
Oh no. Can you say when the sleeve is going to come off your guys' bikes?
Very soon.
Cool.
Not too soon though.
Nice. Stay
It
tuned.
will eventually come off.
For sure. Maybe that's just the look. You can just rap.
I mean, like,
Little jacket for the rig.
it's not amazing to ride with a jacket on your bike, you know.
Yeah.
So, but
Does it slow you down?
I mean,
Technically.
I feel like in Loser we had that. This is a test race, and Valley was there. Valley Hole, for those that don't know, living under a rock, if you don't know who Valley Hole is, but fastest woman on the planet. And I beat her in this test race by like 0.03.
Maybe it was the jacket.
And maybe
it's faster.
But we were like, what do you do when, like, obviously it's not down to stuff like that on a track like that. But if we were on a more aero track, that's when the stuff like speed suits and all this do come into play. Yeah. So I didn't have my speed suit on. If I had my speed suit on in that run, I would have won by like 5 seconds.
Yeah,
do you reckon the sleeve could be quicker?
I don't think it is.
If it was, would you just keep it on at every race?
If the sleeve was proven to be quicker, I'll put the sleeve on.
Would you be allowed?
See, to you that's mad because you're like, no way would I compromise looks.
You probably customise the sleeve.
No, honestly, lately, like, I feel like I'm at the age where, or just as of this year, like, I've sacked off everything that I think is cool, and I just want
Comfort.
stuff that works.
Yeah.
That like feels better and
Comfort,
is more
reliability,
comfortable.
yeah.
Exactly.
For sure.
I can see where like, you know, when you're like, oh, that's such a dad thing. Or whatever. Like, I can see why they do it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I guess you just have a switch and you're like, I don't care
Yeah, I
anymore.
think we all
If
get into
someone
that
says
age
to
now.
me, yeah, I'm just so competitive as well that if someone said this is faster,
Yeah.
like, all right.
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, it's literally going to be better for your
Yeah.
job, so.
Yeah, like the speed suit, I guess,
Yeah.
and it was given to me. And in the beginning, I was like, ooh.
Are other brands going to have like
I
really
don't know.
tight stuff this year?
They already have tight stuff. It's
Yeah.
ridiculous that people
Yeah,
are like,
yeah,
oh,
yeah,
the speed suit's so
yeah.
tight. Have you seen Anne-Marie Pierron's pants? Like,
Yeah,
they're
for
the
sure.
tightest things
Yeah.
on the entire circuit.
Yeah.
It's just, ours is just, seamless.
connect. Yeah.
Yeah, which I think looks better than like really tight pants and a bit of flappy jersey, you know?
For sure. Keep
But
it consistent.
I don't think, I'm not sure if other brands are going to do it or not. I personally do think it's quicker. It feels nicer to race in.
Cool. I bet it feels sick actually. Maybe
Yeah.
just like,
Yeah, you put it on, you're like, wow, I feel like a ninja.
that's sick.
But I mean, Jackson didn't race last year, so there wasn't really like a speed suit in the men that was like up there.
Right.
So I think for now,
Let's
I don't
see.
think, but I think as time goes on, maybe now that Jackson's back and if he starts winning races in it, then it might become a thing.
For sure.
Apparently, like last year, Scott were already trying to do one. That's why ours got reported because you're meant to have a two-piece, which ours was, but it didn't look like one.
Yeah.
Because Scott was like, well, we tried doing that and didn't manage.
No
Oh,
way.
they just weren't smart enough.
Yeah. Yeah, a few people reported us at the first race, which is
I love it. I love the beef.
yeah, love the drama.
Kit beef.
I mean, the thing is we were like, if we didn't have it and someone else came along with
Yeah.
it, you'd probably be part of the people that report it.
Yeah,
It's just
yeah,
so
yeah,
much
yeah.
racing drama. It's funny. Everyone gets on, but
Yeah.
it's like, oh, we didn't think of that, or oh, we
Yeah,
thought
yeah.
that, but it didn't work. So can you?
You can't
not?
have
yeah,
it.
you can't. Yeah.
Sick, mate. Well, we can't wait to see you smash it this season.
Thank you.
Hype to see the sleeve come off and what's under there. Is there some madness under there?
It's very pretty. I personally think it's very
Sick.
pretty.
Love it. Love it.
Yeah.
Sick. Well,
Thanks for coming on.
Yeah,
Absolute
thanks for
ledge.
having me.
thanks for chatting to us. It's been sick.
Big
Big up.
up.
See you in Poland, I guess.
Oh yeah.
Are you gonna
have fun
come?
out there.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.